Hi, this is Joy Robertson. As many of you know, I love food. I love finding new restaurants. I love trying new dishes. And most of all, I love talking to the many great restaurateurs and entrepreneurs we have here in the Ozarks and beyond. I love hearing their stories, and that's what this podcast is all about, learning more about them and their journey. So join me as we savor the Ozarks. This episode is brought to you by Arctic Food Equipment. If you drive north on Glenstone and keep going and keep going and keep going, you're going to find a little spot right off the side of the road that has some of the best burgers and fries you will ever have in your life. And if you want, you can get it hot to go. I'll get to that in a moment. I am at Kad-E-Korner, and I'm talking to the current owner and the previous owner. Martha is the current owner. Coleen is a previous owner. Ladies, I don't even know where to start with this. We are sitting in the corner booth at Kad-E-Korner, and so let's just start with you because I'm sitting right next to you, Martha. You're the current owner. How did you come about learning about this place?
Well, my husband and I got property close to the place. We wanted to get out of the city, just go and have a piece of land somewhere, north of Springfield, and we were homesteading, started to homestead and planting a garden and raising bees. And then we were driving by Kad-E-Korner, and I needed just to stop for a few snacks and drinks, and then I came in and the place smelled like bacon, and I said, this place has food. And then after that I saw the menu, and we became regulars. So every time we got off out of church, we came here with the kids and went to the cabin, and then every opportunity we had to get out of Springfield, we just come north to the country and have a nice meal here, and then go play in the woods.
Well, when you drive by, it looks for all the world like an old gas station, and you could easily just zoom right past it and think, well, unless I need gas or something. Mm-hmm. And I don't believe it is still a gas station, correct? This is not a gas station.
Yes, it actually is still a gas station. And
it is?
It is, and it has the pumps where you have to actually turn the handle to make them generate back to zero and start again. There is no pay at the pump.
Coleen, I had no idea. I went to you for that one because she nodded yes. I mean, I didn't realize those were working gas pumps. I thought they were decoration. So, Martha, you drove by and you came in and you were sold on it. Kind of maybe the same thing for you, Coleen, and you may know a little bit better the history of the building that we're sitting in. You and your husband, J.D., owned it for how long?
We owned it for 22 years, and we bought it on a fluke. There was another couple who was running it. It was called Schaefer's Roadside Store, and we became customers of theirs because we lived just beyond the store. And one day they were closed, and I thought, oh, that's the worst thing they can do for their business. So I called them and said, if you're sick and you need help, I'll come help you. I can deal with customers, I can deal with money, but you could just have to show me around. And she said, actually, we're selling it. And in the course of the conversation, she told me what they were selling it for, and I said, if that deal doesn't go through, I'm a banker and I know how things fall through sometimes, call me back. 2 weeks later, she called me back and said, store's for sale. The guy couldn't get the money. And a week or two later, we owned the store.
So did you smell the bacon when you first came in and that helped seal the deal?
Well, that was part of it, but they had great food and she had a wonderful personality, so her and I really did click. And we never planned on owning a convenience store, and my husband and I both had full-time jobs, so this became our second full-time job.
And your husband has since passed away. I'm very sorry about that. His name was J.D. Now, give me a little history of this building, because this has been around since, right after World War II era, correct?
Yes, it was built in the 40s and originally was just a gas station. They sold tires and repaired tires, and it had the old gas pump with the glass top at that time. We have pictures of that around, but they owned it for several years. Arbaugh was the name, I believe, and then they sold it, and it was known as Winnie's for years. A single lady who ran the store, and as old convenience stores were, lived in the back. And so she ran it until she became very ill and eventually passed away, and then it was closed for a little while until it was bought by the Greg Schaefer.
So this place is way out, and I can only imagine back then this was way out, but Route 66 runs through here, so I would imagine the people who lived here back in the day were very grateful to have this far north of town, and I bet you get a lot of visitors still today that come through Route 66. Coleen, was that your experience, that people would somehow find this when they came to town?
Not a lot of Route 66, although some. What is amazing to me is how people will describe it, as you said, way, way outside of town. It's really only about 10, 12 miles, but it feels like you need a passport sometimes once you leave Springfield to actually get here. However, what amazes me and what's fun for me, the stories that I hear, is that when people will bring someone from St. Louis or Kansas City out here because they're visiting them, either relatives or friends, and they pretend they're lost, or let's pull in here and ask for directions, knowing they were coming here all along. Actually, the sheriff, prior to the current sheriff, would do that with a lot of guests who would come. He would pretend they were going to go eat and that he was lost. And Jack Merritt was his name,
right.
Yeah, Sheriff Merritt. And he would bring people out and pretend that he had gotten lost and was going to pull in and then get them in here and feed them. And the Sheriff's Department today, actually, still several of them will come in and eat on a regular basis.
Jack Merritt was a hoot. He was a real character. What was that?
He's my cousin. Actually, his wife is my cousin, yes.
He was always so entertaining, and I'm going to keep that one in my playbook and bring friends here. But it does feel like, you pass a lot of beautiful rural countryside, some picket fences, some farmland, some homes, and you just keep going north on Glenstone, and then here it sits. But you're right, when you walk in, Martha, you smell the smells, and there's a griddle back there. So your claim to fame really is sort of home cooking.
It is, and it's like I said, it's the experience of it's great food. You come for the food, and you're like I was out of town, and I was just growing a mushroom Swiss, and I'm like, for whatever it is, I just want to go back and have one of my mushroom Swiss and curly fries, and so and then you come in, and it's a whole experience. It's the ambience, the people. It just feels like you can take a breath and just enjoy the country and just a nice meal out here.
It's like walking back in time a little bit. It's funny you should say that. I almost had the mushroom Swiss when I was here last Friday. I was with my husband and my daughter, and I just got the regular good old cheeseburger. The curly fries, though, when roughly did that start? Because nobody does them like you do.
Well, it is something you cannot get hardly anywhere else. Maybe at a festival is all, but I don't know how many pounds of potatoes Martha goes through now. I know used to we would do 150 to 200 pounds of potatoes in a week in the summertime, and the potatoes are all scrubbed and then hand washed, and then put in a basket, and then when you order, we put them on a curler, a manual curler, and hand curl them and drop them in the oil. And we've been doing that the whole time that we've owned the store, and they were always popular and still are today. So Martha was very intelligent. She's a very smart woman, and she did not change the curly fries or the burgers. She has made a lot of improvements here and made it just so much cuter, but she has kept the basic. And that really does bring in a lot of people.
There's a big bin of potatoes sitting right there in the little window going into the store portion, and I do applaud you for keeping the menu, to the tradition. Because am I correct that your husband's a physician?
Yes, he is. He works at Mercy Hospital.
Okay, and so I don't know that I'd call this health food, but it's certainly healthy for the spirit.
It is. It is food for the soul.
It is that. Talk about the rest of your menu. So you've got this little laminated menu here. You do breakfast, by the way, which I have not done your breakfast yet. Talk about your breakfast.
Oh, the breakfast is amazing. Pam, our cook, has 26 years of experience working here at Kad-E-Korner. She started when she was 12 at a diner doing dishes, and then from there she started cooking, and she's in her late 60s now, and so she has many decades of experience, but has been at Kad-E-Korner for 26 years, since 1999, and she's just an amazing woman. It's just when you come in, it is that grandma feeling, like you're in your grandma's kitchen, and it's just the nostalgia, like I said, the experience. And then you order in a skillet, it comes actually in a skillet of curly fries with, our homemade gravy, and we have sausage. It has sausage, and then you can add any veggies and just any meat. If you want bacon, ham, sausage, you put it in there, and then it's topped with cheese. So that's one of my favorites. And also biscuits and gravy. We have pancakes, waffles, bacon, scrambled eggs, fried eggs. We have a tater tot bowl that comes also with tater tots and cheese and bacon and gravy, if you would like to top it up like that. So yes, and his breakfast is served all day long. So we have families that come, at 6 o'clock, and the dad wants the burger, the wife wants a grilled chicken sandwich, but then the little kids is like, I want pancakes for dinner, and we can make pancakes for dinner. And so that's a plus.
I'll bet your omelet is killer.
Yes, it is. It is. It's wonderful. It's a 2-egg omelet, and then, like I said, we have cheese omelets, or you can add any meats. You can add all 3 meats and all the veggies that you want, and that's the loaded omelet.
Breakfast burrito. Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good one too, and it comes with sour cream and salsa.
What's your favorite? Is it the mushroom Swiss?
It's the mushroom Swiss, and I do add jalapenos to it. Mm-hmm. So it's a mushroom Swiss and grilled onions, and then jalapenos. But everybody just asks for it a little different. So we can do just a mushroom Swiss, which is, your grilled mushrooms, your Swiss cheese, and plain. You can add a little light mayo, but we let people, do you want anything else on your mushroom Swiss? And some people do. It's like, oh, you add some tomatoes. Of course we can. Or a fried egg. We have people wanted a fried egg, and we add the fried egg.
They make it how you want it.
We make it how you want it.
Coleen, what is your favorite?
Well, I love the burgers, of course, because that's tradition. But one of my favorites is the fish on Friday. Martha does specials, and I don't know every day of the week, but Wednesday has always been meatloaf day and still is. So it is homemade meatloaf with baked potato, typically green beans, and French with Texas toast. And then Fridays, so here I get back to my favorite, Fridays is fried fish, and also served as a meal. So I'm a seafood connoisseur, so I always go for the fried fish. But again, you can't beat the burgers or the breakfast. It's all good. There's nothing. I always used to say we would order something, and if I didn't like it, we never served it again. We took it right back off the menu and added something different, because it has to be, I think, something that I would enjoy so that I could easily recommend to other people.
Are there things you added to the menu when you got here?
Yes, really, when we first purchased the store, they only did deli meats, pretty much. A little bit of burgers, but not a lot. But primarily, and I thought when we bought the store, I thought we will be throwing away so much meat that we will never make any profit on this. And actually, that is where we made our biggest money, was on the deli side, and we rarely threw away any meat that outdated. It was that busy already when we first purchased it. But mostly sandwich meat for the guys working in the fields, doing hay, working cows, working with horses. That's big out in this area. A lot of people have horses and stay home and do things with those all day, so they'd run down here for a sandwich.
Don't you know, though, they appreciate a good hot burger or meatloaf, which I haven't had the meatloaf yet. I got to it has to be insane good. And when I was here Friday, I got the burger, and then when I went up to get something, to drink off the fountain, which you just get yourself a fountain drink, I saw the sign that said fried fish, and I was like, ooh, maybe we should get some fish. And I didn't, because I thought, there's going to be so much food, Joy. Come on, you can. So you do that every Friday. That's good to know. Are you the one who brought the curly fries, Coleen?
Yes, actually, that started with us with the burgers, and again, it should never die as long as whoever owns the store, because again, it's nothing that you can get anywhere else except here, or like I said, a festival sometimes.
Oh, they're stunning, and the fact that you drag a potato out of there, and I can see it, the little manual curly doohickey that makes the fresh, and then they throw them in there for you fresh, so you can get a side order, a full order, or the table fries. I'll bet you sell a ton of table fries.
Yes, we do. It's actually famous is that we want the table fry, the big one, and so it is a people's favorite.
I bet you go through gallons and gallons of ketchup.
Yes, we do. And potatoes, which she was mentioning earlier, like 150 pounds a week. We double that. Now it's more like 300 pounds a week of potatoes.
I take it neither of you had been in the restaurant business before. You're both shaking your head like no way. So did you ever see yourself doing this, Martha?
No, as a child, I play kitchen and restaurant with my siblings, and so we had like a small little mini bake oven and a popcorn maker, and then we get lemonade, and my parents. My dad built us a small table with chairs, and so it's like, okay, so I would just, take orders from my siblings, and you could just have the cake or the popcorn. That's the menu. And so, and I play store. We love playing store and pretend, and so that was growing up. And then when I got Kad-E-Korner, I told my parents, it's like, I feel like I'm playing, like I'm a child again. I'm just so excited. And so when you do what you love, and it feels like you're playing, it's like, I'm going to go play store. I don't say, I'm going to go work at Kad-E-Korner. I say, I'm going to go play, at the store. And occasionally I get behind the grill, and I have learned a lot from Coleen and Pam and Tabitha and just the staff. It's like I never cooked that before. And so they show me, this is how you do it. No, you don't put that first. You do this, after. And it's just been fun. It's just ever since I got it, I've been just learning so much.
I love Pam. She was in here with Tabitha on Friday. And it's fun to kind of stand around and watch, There's a couple of tables right in there sort of on the other side of the grill, and I don't want to get in anybody's way, but I kind of like to watch the action. So, same for you, Coleen. You hadn't had any kind of a... She's like, I'm a banker. I like to eat, but I don't want to cook it. How did you adapt to that?
Really easily, because I love people. So yes, I've been a banker for 40 years and at my current job 25, and never thought that I would ever own a convenience store or a restaurant of any kind. And with my husband's help, because he was a huge help with this, we just, again, love getting to know the people in the community and what people I'll call it out here, because I've always worked in Springfield. So I didn't realize so many people did stay home and work from home even at that time years ago, pre-COVID, of course. But they would work, doing the hay, doing fields, building houses. So I didn't realize there were so many people out here. It was great to get to know all the neighbors. Now where everyone lives. And when somebody doesn't show up that's a regular, we call, and say, are you okay? We haven't seen you in 2 or 3 days, and that's not usual for you. You're here every day or every other day. And Martha still does that too. It's a true community store that serves this area.
When this place came on your radar, Coleen, did you go to JD and say, hey, I have an idea? Or did you both kind of think of buying it? Like, who broke the news to who?
Oh, it was me. I said, it's for sale and for this amount, and I think we should do it. And then he goes, okay. And one night we're doing paperwork around midnight, and I looked at him at that point and I said, you realize we're going to be this tired all the time? And he goes, oh no. And I'm like, oh yes.
Oh yeah.
And we both were, but it was very successful. And I have to say this while I have the opportunity. I could not have sold it to anyone better. She is very community-minded. She is precious, as I say. I say she's as beautiful as she is sweet. And that's the way I describe her. We have become best friends, and I wouldn't trade that for the world. So this has been and her husband is the same. Oh my goodness. I don't get me started. They're just wonderful people. So I'm just proud that I was able to turn this, what I call this legacy, on over to somebody who's cared so much and done so many improvements that has just made it even better.
So how did that sale, before I started rolling, you talking about how that came about, because Martha comes in, she smells the bacon, she loves the place, and then she kind of approaches you. And you said, if you ever want to sell?
I just said, please never close. And if you do, please let me know. And she's like, I just love your place and I just don't want it to be closed ever. And she's like, it's yours. It's like, and it's like, okay. And so like, this is how much I want. It's like, okay. So I went and told my husband. And I said, that cute little place on the corner. It's like, I was talking to the owner and I just told her that please never close the store. But if you do, let me know. And I said, it's yours. So I would like to buy it. And she said that, it's not for sale, but if you want it, it's yours. And so I went and told my husband, this is how much she wants. And he's like, oh no. So you never owned a business before. And I'm not from here. I'm originally from Mexico. And I've never had a business before. And so, but she's been with me the whole time. And I said, I will not leave you. I'll be there helping you. And if you have any questions, I will not leave you alone. And today, I said, Coleen, I have a question. Or do you have the number for, whatever comes up? And, but yes, and this has, going back to community, this is my family. And I call them, this is my Kad-E-Korner family, because I don't have any family here in the U.S. Or in Missouri. And, so people here is just people helping people.
Coleen, you said that Martha had approached you and said something about, I could work here. This would be fun. And you said, no, I don't want you. I don't want you working here. No offense. I don't want you working here. Why?
Well, it's a lot of work. This is a mom and pop organization. It's not Walmart where they say we're bringing in 80 cases of chips for you. You keep track of your chips, your buns, your potatoes, your burger. You keep track of everything and you order it. So she kept offering, sweet as she is, to help. And I kept saying, oh no, girl, you see how much work this is? You will never buy it. That was went through my head. I did not say that out loud to her. I do now. I tell her that is why I did not want you here. But it is.
You want to sell it. You're afraid you're going to run her off.
Yes, absolutely. And it is way more work than anyone ever imagines. By the time you handle the payroll, you handle the staffing, you handle any corrections that needs done with the staffing, you do the hiring. You hopefully don't have to do much firing, but it's like you make sure everything's clean. You make sure you're ready for the health department. I mean, you're it. Tag, you're it. They say there's a lot to owning your own business. There's a lot to owning your own business, and there's many joys, but there is a lot of work, and this is the mom and pop work here. So
and you said it wasn't a typical sale.
Correct. It was not a typical sale. Usually one person gets the key and the other person gets a check and you shake hands and walk away. And Martha said, I've never done this before. You can't leave me. Her words were, you can't leave me. And I said, Martha, you don't know me or my husband, but I said, if we tell you we will help you, we will help you. And I will stay as long as you want, and I will help you with anything you need help with. And my husband volunteered at the time. He said, well, if she still wants me to open, he was the breakfast guy, and if she still wants me to open for the next 2 or 3 months, I will do that for her. Well, about 3 years later, he wasn't well enough to work here any longer, but it only took about 3 years for him to go ahead and stop that 2 or 3 month job. But it's just because they're such great people, and I promised her we wouldn't leave, and we've not left.
And you're going to hold her to it.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, it's family. And so you're like my parents here. And so your family to me, so you can't leave me. And she has kept her promise. And JD, I mean, he was just wonderful. I mean, I'll come in the morning and he already had the biscuits and gravy going, and he would say, "You want some?" and say, "Absolutely, yes." And we used to sit down and, you know, have biscuits and gravy and a cup of coffee. And I miss him. I really do. I do miss him. But he was just a wonderful man and just helped me so much to the very, very end, until his health couldn't allow him to help, you know, be here in person. But it was truly, you know, just a blessing in how it just all worked out together. Like, it really was a God thing from the very beginning.
Yes, absolutely.
Need a part for your fryer, oven, ice machine, or HVAC unit? Arctic Food Equipment has you covered. Hi, I'm Nathan. Our experienced part department helps you find exactly what you need. No guesswork, no stress. From name brand OEM parts to aftermarket specialty solutions, we've got it all. Stop in today at 1501 South Enterprise or give us a call at 417-888-0100.
At Arctic Food Equipment, your success is our business always.
And I just love the neighbors, the staff, just everybody here in the community. And like I said, if we don't see someone, like Coleen said, in 2 or 3 days, we call them and say, "Hey, are you okay? We haven't seen you."
That says so much about people here in the heartland, here in Missouri, because you have so many good relationships. I was in here, sitting right there on the other side of this booth, and my former neighbor came in. And I have not seen Russ in 4 or 5 years easily. And there he was. So you see guys in work boots, and you see people in dress suits. I mean, you just never know who's going to come walking in. But when Martha approached you, Coleen, you said, "It's yours. It's done deal. It's good." So you just knew it.
Well, I did. She came in, actually, as I remember it, she came in to buy coffee creamer. And I happened to be dropping by on my way to work, my real job.
At Great Southern.
At Great Southern Bank. And I was on my way there, but I would always drop off checks for them to pay any vendors during the day and change, make sure everything was set for the register. And she came in to buy coffee creamer. And we got to talking about the store, and she said, "I love to cook." And I looked at her and said, "Then you should buy this place." And she looked me dead in the eye and said, "Is it for sale?" And I said, "Well, it's not, but I would sell it." And she said, "How much?" So everything she just said, and I wrote it on a piece of paper and said, "Here you go." And the rest is history. Yeah. It happened. You know, I always say God is good and everything happens in its time. Right. And the way we bought the store was a total fluke, if you want to call it that. And the way I sold the store was the same. It just happened. Had she been 5 minutes later or 5 minutes earlier, I would not have still been standing at the register.
That's just makes my heart happy to hear that story. And Coleen, you have to be delighted in Martha's effort to maintain the spirit of the place, and you can tell how much she loves it, because when you've had something for so long, you want someone to love it as much as you did, and you hit the jackpot.
I hit the jackpot. That's what I say. I could not have ever asked for anyone who could have done it better, ever. She loves people. She remembers names much better than I do. She remembers children's names, their stories. You tell me a story, I'll remember. I'm not so great at names. So she has the whole package, and again has made it cuter, made it prettier. Again, it's a 40s building. There's only so much you can do, but she certainly keeps trying to improve it, but still keeps the spirit of the original. And again, I said we have become best buds, and we are. And again, I even had that conversation one day with her husband. I was like, "John, I could not have sold this to anyone better." And he goes, "I thought you felt that way." And I said, "Oh, I 100% do."
That just makes me super happy. When you walk in, you're greeted by the folks up at the counter, but it looks for all the world like you walk back in time in an old-timey store. I love the tables, the tables in the front with the glass over the top, because there have to be, and there are framed photos also, there's got to be a few hundred photos of people that, that's your doing, is it, Martha? I love that.
I love taking pictures and printing them out and just seeing it tells a story, and just the people that have come. We have several generations, one time I saw this young lady. She's probably in her 20s, and she's like, "That's me in the picture." And I'm like, "Which one?" I said, "That's me." And she was like probably like a year old in the picture, and she's already in college. And we have had like really generations of people coming through here. And I had a young gentleman, he said, "That's my grandpa," and he passed away, and I just want to sit at this table and have my picture taken like my grandpa. So we took the picture of the young man and put his picture next to his grandpa picture at the same spot, sitting on that corner. And so we call it the corner, the Kad-E-Korner. This is Chappell Roan Corner, by the way.
We're in the Chappell Roan booth right now. I call it the Chappell Roan booth. Let's talk about that. How did that come about?
Well, her grandparents used to bring her here as a child, and when she was doing her Midwest album, she said, "I'm gonna go back home," because she became famous in California. Came back home to Missouri. She's from Willard, and so I said, "I want to go to all the places I used to visit with my family while I was living here, growing up," and this was one of the spots. And so she had a song called "Hot to Go," HOTTT.
Oh yeah, everybody knows that song. The Midwest Princess, right? So she figures what better way to, and it becomes the album cover, which is right behind me. And so you just get a call one day saying, "Hey, I want to do a photo shoot in your restaurant."
And I said, "Yes, absolutely." We didn't know who she was at first, and so I knew that she had opened at a concert for Olivia Rodrigo, and I thought, "Oh, she must be kind of famous," and so she was, and so she went from like 1,000 followers, I believe, in her Spotify to like 32 million, in a matter of a couple years after being here at Kad-E-Korner. And so yes, it was an honor, to have the picture taken at our diner on her album for the Hot to Go.
Well, and her grandparents are featured pretty prominently in the video too, right?
Yes, and they are still customers here. So we have had her parents and grandparents come, and they sit at this booth where her daughter took the pictures of the store.
Well, she came on Ozarks Live when I was doing the show a few years ago, and they said, "Yeah, she's from Willard, but she's in LA, she's in town." It was around holiday time, and she actually sang a Christmas song and just played her keyboard. And she was so sweet, very quiet, super impressive. And I did a little homework on her, and I said to Tom Turton, my co-host, I said, "Tom, have you seen her music videos? This girl is not playing. She is the real deal." And I said, "I would love to have you back on." I think at that point she had committed to LA and was really making her way in the music business. And look now, I mean, she's one of the top artists in the world. And she's helped put this place on the map, but for the best reason ever, because she grew up here. Coleen, you're leaning in. What are your thoughts?
Just that we are actually sitting as we speak in the Chappell Roan booth. Martha has a picture of her with Chappell Roan Hot to Go standing right in front of the booth that we happen to be sitting at, and it's just a cute area that she's decorated with a lot of the Chappell Roan memorabilia.
This is just so much fun. It's stunning. It's fun to look around at all the photos. But yeah, this is definitely, is this the most popular booth now in the place, would you say?
Yes, we have had several people like, "We sit in the Chappell Roan booth," and then they sit here on the corner. We have had a birthday party. This little girl's like, "I want to sit there," and so she wanted to sit here and requested this booth on the corner, Kad-E-Korner, the Chappell Roan Corner.
Well, Chappell, if you're listening, you are invited to come in, and please come on the podcast, because wouldn't that be fun to talk to her about where she liked to eat? I'm sure this was among her top spots, but that would be so much fun. We could record it right here, Chappell, in the corner booth. Talk about the store, because you have a full-on convenience store out here, and as so many sort of rural Midwest stores, we're not far from Fellows Lake, you can get worms if you want to go fishing. I mean, you've got a little of everything in there.
Yes, you can get actually a bottle of wine and worms. So we call it wine and worms.
You can get a bottle of bubbly, a bottle of wine, and live worms.
That's right. And so, yes, with Fellows Lake and, the trails that they have open there and a playground. We get a lot of people coming for worms and sodas and beer and anything. And to go, we have the whole menu. You can get it to go and have a picnic at the lake and go fishing. So and we from worms to wine to a meal, you're all set to go to Fellows Lake and have a good time.
You do. I mean, I saw everything from bug spray to fly swats. You've got some swag in there if anybody wants some Kad-E-Korner swag. But it's you can get anything from protein drinks to candy bars to kind of whatever you need. So I'm sure you have people, well, like you, Martha, who stopped in for creamer, thinking, I wonder if they have creamer, and that's how it started.
That's right. And we always find our yes. Like sometimes people come and they say, do you have such and such? And if we don't have it, then we put it in a little pink book, and next time I go to the store, I grab it, and so we'll have it for the next time. So yes, we have a little bit of everything.
How did this place get the name Kad-E-Korner?
Well, my mother actually named it when she saw it the first time. When I told her we were buying it, she lived in Pleasant Hope, and I brought her over, and I said, I don't know what to name it. And she said, well, why don't you name it Kad-E-Korner, because as you come around the curve, it kind of sits off to the left, so at a little bit of an angle. And she goes, why don't you call it Kad-E-Korner? And I thought, well, how are we going to spell that? So I start looking up the word Kad-E-Korner. I've lived in Missouri most all my life, and there is no such word as Kad-E-Korner. It's Kad-E-Korner with a C, and I never knew that until I grabbed a dictionary back in the day and started looking up for the word Kad-E-Korner.
Well, those dictionary people, what do they know? They need to ask the experts. Okay, so you figure let's call it that, and then you spelled it different.
Yes, and sometimes I regretted that because then you spelled it for everyone, but now that it is well known and that Martha has carried on the name with just a little revision to it so that she could get her legal paperwork done, she carried on with the same name. So it's been, again, and now same thing. You would never change Burgers, Fries, or the name because, again, it's now known. And she would want people to keep coming here and not change it to Martha's little playhouse.
Right, and it's kind of Kad-E-Korner to the little highway. When you're on your way up here, there's another road that goes this way. It's just Kad-E-Korner right there at the intersection. K-A-D-E corner, also with a K. Okay, so it's very, very memorable. And have you sold more swag since Chappell Hot to Go? I mean, have you had people come in?
No, I don't think so. No. We, like I said, we get customers from all over, mainly because of someone told them about Kad-E-Korner. It's a word of mouth and Facebook. And so it's like, I saw that you're having live music on Facebook, and then they come, or that you're having a farm stand on Sundays. And so it's mainly our Facebook that brings, people in, and then that once they're in and they have something in the menu, they keep coming back, and then they bring their friends. And so that's so I've seen you twice this week. Yeah, I came by myself, but then I brought my friends. We have a gentleman that came all the way from Branson, and so he said, I saw it on Facebook, and I knew it was a little bit of a drive, but it took him like about an hour from wherever he was in Branson, and then later on he brought friends, and then he kept bringing friends, and so that's this is wonderful. But about the name, going back, Coleen, when Coleen started or got it first, it was a deli, and so her and her husband JD made it a diner, and so now it's Kad-E-Korner Store and Diner instead of deli, and so because it grew bigger and they added things to the menu, and so it's more like a sit-down diner instead of a deli. So
I love the I say old-timey, I mean the classic-looking booths back here. You mentioned live music. Do you still do live music?
We do. We had one in June, and then July I have family in town and couldn't do it, but we're thinking about doing one in August this month. And so we have just local people that live around here, and they play with their church band or friends and or other family, and so we have had them. And we had a couple from Arkansas, from Fayetteville, March to August, and that's probably one of our favorites too. That they just interact with the public, and the music is fantastic. They actually got an award in Tennessee, and I was very proud of them.
And what are their names?
Their names is March to August is the name.
March to August
yes.
is the name. Oh, okay.
Yes,
I thought they just played here for a really long time. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And so that was that's been a good thing to have, because it brings the community together. Like people they heard about it, so neighbors is like, hey, they connect and they get to network with each other, and like Coleen said, it's just a great community out here, and it gives an opportunity to get together.
Where do you put the band or the musicians?
We have a pavilion outside, and so it was a storage at the beginning, and so we made it into a little porch, and so now we have the porch for the band, and then people bring their lawn chairs, and we use the pavilion, and we have picnic tables. And my dad built a playground, so now the kids have a place to go and play, and while they listen to music, you can eat outside, you can order anything in the menu, grab your drinks, and just enjoy an evening out here at Kad-E-Korner.
That's something new, Coleen, that you have to just love.
I do, and it is fun. Of course, I try to come every time she has music, and I might add it's free. She doesn't charge to listen to the band. So again, you just bring all your own lawn chairs and come in and grab a drink or a bottle of wine or whatever, because you can actually have it here on the property. She has the right licenses to be able to have a drink out there if you like, or a soft drink, whatever is your preference.
Okay, and you mentioned something about a farm stand. When do you do that?
We do those on Sunday. We started a couple weeks ago, and this sweet lady came and said, hey, could I set up my produce out here? It's locally grown. And so she brought tomatoes, peaches, watermelons, cantaloupes, peppers, like three different kinds of peppers, and so had a farm stand. I said, okay, let me know, and I just posted on Facebook, and I did, and we had a really good turnout the first Sunday, and then this last Sunday even more. And so
will she be here this Sunday?
Yes, she will. Yes.
Do you know if she has any okra? Because I'm obsessed with fried okra right now.
I will ask her. I'm sure she probably does.
I think the last 2 nights, my husband and I bought some somewhere at a farmer's market, and there's just nothing better than the tomatoes and fried okra. Late summer, right?
Well, if you get desperate, she has fried okra for you to buy here, so don't you worry.
That is true. Fried okra, even fried green beans.
Fried green beans, yes. And I've never had fried green beans before. I found out about Kad-E-Korner, the fried green beans. Those are my daughter's favorite. My daughter worked here for 4 years before she got a job getting out of college, and so. But I will come, and she had a little bowl, and she was working, and she dipped them on ranch. And I'm like, these are so good. And I came and steal a few, and then, Mom, get your own. Those are my green beans.
My daughter had them as a side to her burger when we were here. Ellen was like, fried green beans, I gotta have it, and of course we had the big fries for the table too, because, health food. But I was eyeing them, and I was trying not to reach over and get one, but she was like, do you want one? I said, of course I want one. Yeah, so they were just delicious. Who works here? There have to be all sorts of everything from teenagers to students to your employees, I'm sure, mean the world to you. Over the years, who works at Kad-E-Korner?
Most of our people live around the area and just in the community, and then our ladies in the daytime for breakfast and lunch, Tabitha and Pam, they're both moms, and they live here in Fairgrove or north of Kad-E-Korner. And then in the afternoons or evenings is our students from Fairgrove. We have a lot of high school kids that work here from Fairgrove High School, and we call this our little high school incubator, because they start when they're like 16, 17 until they graduate from high school, and then they go and say, I learned all these people's skills. I was afraid of the phone when I first started working cooking here, and then they're so confident, and they learn a lot from cooking and time management and restocking and the cash register. They do a little bit of everything, and so they go with some good people skills and other skills coming out of here.
Greeting people, you have to look people in the eye. I mean, Coleen, over the years you were here, I would imagine you have seen generations.
Generations, absolutely. And I always loved it that it was a lot of their first job. And in today's world, how are we raised? We're raised on our phones and not interactions. And so this is huge for a lot of them. I remember hiring a 16-year-old, and her dad had come in and said, "You need to hire my daughter." And I said, "Okay, send her in." He was regular. I said, "Send her in." I hired her, and the first time she walked up to the register, I said, "Okay, do you know how to count money?" And she said, "My mother taught me, doesn't matter what you do in life, you're going to have to learn to count money." And so she was fabulous at 16, that she already knew how to count money. And I thought, what a valuable lesson, and what a great mom that was. But again, echoing what Martha said, it's just awesome to see these kids come in that only really know how to communicate on their phones, and you have to tell them you need to raise your head and say hello whenever someone walks in the door, and you have to go clean their table when they're finished. Don't leave their dirty dishes sitting there. Things that they don't think about. This is their first job. They don't know. So we're the trainers of that generation that's going to get out and work with the public and not just be on their phones all the time.
I would think it would be a real badge of honor for people to say, I used to work over at the Kad-E-Korner, because it's just kind of an iconic place around here that people have to, I would think people would be clamoring to work in here. I bet you get a lot of people that ask about it.
Well, I have a story. We have a insurance agent, and he came to Kad-E-Korner, and he said, "I used to work there when I was in high school," and I thought it was so neat. Now he has an office job, behind a desk, helping us get insurance, for the business and our cars and house, and so it was really neat. So he comes here with his son now, and he said, "Yeah, I used to work there, and I used to order this same burger, and I wanted just like that, and a side of curly fries." And it has been probably a couple decades, like 20 years ago, since he, used to work here.
What days are you open?
We're open every day. From 7:30 a.m. till 8 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
Every day, Monday through Saturday. Okay.
Yes, and then on Sunday we're open from 8 till 6.
Okay.
Yes, we close a little early on Sunday, but we're open every day.
So 7 days a week. Was it like that when you were here, Coleen?
Oh, yes. 7 days a week, and our hours were actually even a little later because we needed to make sure the business worked. So we would open a little earlier and close a little later, and then, of course, after a few years, we kind of started cutting those back just a little bit. We're not always as busy in the evenings as we are during lunchtime and breakfast, and, of course, weekends are insane around here some days, which insane in a great way. Very busy, lots of customers in, but yes, it was 7 days a week, and we did it for 22 years. I told Martha she only has about 18 more years to go.
As you reach over and hug each other, I can tell you're such good friends, and that's kind of the way this place feels. It just feels like you've come home again. I'm seeing an homage to the Cardinals over here on the wall. I'm seeing all these pictures of people. Everybody's greeting everybody like they know them. You could pick up a newspaper and sit and read the newspaper and have a cup of coffee. There's a regular right there, it looks like. Does she work here, or does she just come here?
Linda and Sam, they have been here for years and years and years, and they're just regulars. All of this in our diner, they love to sit in the front. Like I said, you're like in your grandma's kitchen, but they're our regulars. Doug, Linda, Sam. And
was it Doug that I was standing there when we started to come back, and he said, "Excuse me, that's my chair"?
Yes, that's Doug, and that's his chair.
Well, I will know to make sure I don't get Doug's chair. Coleen's over there. Coleen, did you make the mistake of getting Doug's chair?
Oh no, but it is the table I always sat at whenever we were coming down to eat. I mean, people would see us, out somewhere else eating, and they're like, "Why are you not at Kad-E-Korner?" I'm like, "Because we're there 7 days a week." But that is
And Doug's in my chair.
and Doug's in my chair, but that is the table that we always sat at. But downstairs in now what is the Chappell Roan this round booth has always been one of the highlights of eating here when a group comes in, is sitting in the booth that we're sitting in now.
Well, this is a happy place. And Chappell, once again, the invitation's open. Girlfriend, meet me here. We're going to talk food, and we're going to eat some great food. Okay, the Kad-E-Korner. It's at 2633 East Shelby Road, Springfield address. So I'm telling you, get on Glenstone and keep a-going. Keep a-going. Keep a-going. Go past 44, go past Metro Builders, keep a-going, keep a-going. You won't miss it. It's on the left. Coleen, you leaned in. You got a tip?
Well, I tell people, don't cross either line on the side of your car. The white lines, put your car on between the white lines and do not cross them until you get here. It actually changes names 3 different times. It's Glenstone, then it's H Highway, then it's KK for about maybe 3/4 of a mile, and then it turns into Shelby Road. But literally, you have never left Glenstone if you just think of it that way. Yeah. If you make a turn, you've made a mistake.
It's the old 65.
I put old 65. Yep, that's what I tell people. I said, and it just seems like that can't be right. Get on Glenstone and stay on Glenstone, but it leads you literally right here. Well, Martha and Coleen from Kad-E-Korner, tell you what, it's getting busy in there. It's getting busy. Pam is in there. You guys may need to go help her. I don't know. But ladies, thank you so much. It has been a pleasure, and I love your friendship, and I love the fact that you've maintained the integrity of the place, and it's just getting better every day. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I appreciate you doing this, and I really enjoy meeting you and letting you know a little bit of our hidden gem. And like I said, it's our baby. It's like it was Coleen's and JD's baby for 22 years, and it's been my baby for 4, and we're still loving it and taking care of it, and just excited to see who's gonna come through those doors and meet new people, make new friends.
You never know. Everybody's a friend, nobody's a stranger. Coleen, thanks to you as well.
Thank you so much. Again, I'm just thrilled that I was able to turn it over to somebody who loves it so much. And, you talked about her husband's a physician, but you might find him out hanging up lights or carrying out the trash or painting the mailbox. I'm like, he just jumps right in, and I absolutely love that from him and from her. They're true workers and don't mind getting their hands dirty. So if you want a little gem, a hidden gem, this truly is it. And thank you, Joy, for doing this.
Thank you, ladies.
Be sure to go to AroundTheOzarks.com to sign up for our daily newsletter, where you can get every episode of Savor the Ozarks, plus all our other podcasts, events, and contests straight to your inbox. And what are your favorite dishes in the 417? You have any restaurants you'd like me to visit? Email me at joy@AroundTheOzarks.com.